poppin' Trey TV gang? This your boy Trey TV, and we back at y'all with another reaction. With this video, we got XXXTentacion convicted killers. Just mentioned Drake name in the case, and if you want to help this channel and the content that we making, please help support our merchandise. The link is in the description. If you didn't hit the like button, make sure you hit the like button. Try and get the channel to grow, and the only way we're gonna do this if you like, share, and comment on the contents. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Let's go. Chi, get the yayo.
Get the yayo.
I ain't gonna lie, I made a video yesterday about Drake starting his Anita Max Win tour in February in Australia, and I thought that was gonna be the last time I had to cover Drake for a little while. But y'all, I was wrong, because I woke up this morning to the news that Drake has pretty much just been called out by XXXTentacion's killer's lawyer over on the Law and Crime Network. Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all heard me right. Drake was pretty much just name dropped by the lawyer for the man who was convicted of killing XXXTentacion. And this is coming at a...
That's crazy.
That's a hell of a name drop.
Yeah, he went back here dry snitching.
Yeah.
He got hit up by the 1-800-GET-INDICTED hotline. That's what I'm
Straight
saying.
up.
We predicted that you want to sue these people.
We want you.
You want to expose these people. They're going to try to expose you. The timing on this is real funny.
Yeah.
Just like the
hella funny.
Timing with P. Diddy, time he sued. Then all the stuff came out.
Everything come out.
So we already predicted, oh, Drake, you trying to sue? I said, yo, this, when we did a video on it, I said, that lawsuit's never going to see the light of day. I never seen that making it to court. It was just too much in there.
At all.
Very coincidental time, right?
Yeah.
All week we've been talking about these petitions that Drake has filed to seek information that can help him file a lawsuit against his record label UMG, which is also Kendrick Lamar's record label. Now, I say this is coming at a coincidental time because we haven't heard nothing about this XXXTentacion case in like a couple years now, right? It's been closed. People have been convicted. The trial is over. Right? On April 6, 2023, all three people that were arrested and tried for this were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And then there's been no new updates in this case since. But then here we are, the week that Drake decides he wants to go at his record labels,
absolutely
implicated in a murder scheme. I can't lie, that's pretty wild. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that Drake going at his label like this was going to be the biggest mistake of his career, that he was about to give Michael Jackson, they was about to give him that Prince treatment. And I kind of shrugged it off like, I don't know about it. Don't seem like too big of a deal. But man,
how you shrug that off?
You shrug it off like
you don't know how it works out here by now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people predicted it because a lot of people we had been able to see it happen in 4K in real time. So now it's getting easy to predict this move. Like, Drake, chill, tread lightly. You know what you messing with. You've seen Diddy got denied bail 3 times in a row. Do you really want to go down that road?
You don't want to play these games. When 100 million ain't no good.
It's crazy.
Life is rough outside.
Like, I don't know about it. Don't seem like too big of a deal.
Shit.
But man, coincidences, right? They can be strange. Now, for context, this theory that Drake may have somehow been involved in XXXTentacion's murder isn't a new theory. In fact, I made a video about this years ago, right? And I put it up on YouTube, and UMG actually requested a takedown of that video. Not because I used any copyrighted music or anything like that, just because they didn't like that topic being out there. Now, if I'm not...
Shit, we did a video like that.
Yeah, we did.
I gotta go check and see if they block it. You know, they block stuff on the low without you even knowing.
Without you even knowing.
We gotta go check.
Till you go look into it.
Then be like, oh, my video.
Right, it ain't even there.
It's crazy.
I'm mistaken, a copy of that video that I made does still exist. It exists over on Rumble. And you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll link to this.
They made that nigga take his shit down and put it on Rumble.
Yeah.
You know,
not playing.
And that didn't raise your eyebrow a little bit? You still shrugged it off after these people came.
Like, it's nothing.
What? Yo, what are you tripping?
It exists over on Rumble. And you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll link to this in the description if you guys want to go watch the video. It was a 28-minute breakdown about all of the evidence that seemingly points to Drake being involved. All right, well, I did that video a couple years ago, breaking it all down, but nothing ever came of it because when it was brought up in court, it was pretty much squashed on site. The judge really didn't want to hear none of it. They continued with trial, and like I said, the 3 people that were on trial for this were eventually convicted, sentenced to life in prison without the...
And that's what makes it look so funny, because we heard about the lawyer trying to bring this up during the case, and they just shut everything down. Anything to do with Drake, basically stopped bringing his name up. But we feel like when you're in that position, you got people that's looking out for you to make sure your name don't get connected with this stuff.
Absolutely.
But when you want to buck the system, they go ahead and just connect the dots.
Yeah.
Let's step out of the way now,
that's
and
exactly
just let
what they
all
do.
the bullets that's supposed to hit you. Facts.
And like I said, the 3 people that were on trial for this were eventually convicted, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And that was the end of it, at least until this week, the week that Drake is taking shots at his label. Now, one of the guys that was convicted, his name was Dedrick Williams. And Dedrick and his attorney, Mauricio Padilla, just filed a petition for an appeal. And in that petition, they point to Drake's alleged feud with the victim as proof that he could have been an alternate suspect in this case. A suspect that they weren't allowed to question, they weren't allowed to get a deposition from, and that the police in Florida refused to investigate. So I want to make clear.
It'd be stuff like that makes you raise your eyebrow a little bit. They couldn't bring his name up. They couldn't investigate him. They couldn't question him. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? If we're really trying to serve this thing, anybody else in the world we could question. This man, we can't even ask him any questions about it.
Can't ask him a damn thing.
And that the police in Florida refused to investigate. So I want to make clear here that they're not saying that Dedrick is innocent and he had nothing to do with it. His attorney is arguing that there was other people who could have been viewed as a suspect that the police failed to even look into. And when something like that happens, it could be argued that whoever was on trial, in this case Dedrick Williams and the other 2 guys, didn't get a fair trial because it wasn't investigated fully, if that makes sense to you guys. What that means is that the conviction of these guys could be looked at as a reversible decision because, like I said, it could be argued that there were other people that the police just refused to look into that could have proved there was more to the story, but we'll never know because
refused or wasn't allowed to.
Right. It was straight up told.
Them people got higher ups.
Yeah.
That they got answer to. They be like, no investigation. Guess what? No investigation.
No investigation.
Look into that could have proved there was more to the story, but we'll never know because they didn't allow it. It basically adds up to the exclusion of evidence that pointed the finger at somebody else. And it's kind of a big deal. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into this clip of Mauricio Padilla explaining why they have just name dropped Drake in this petition for an appeal.
Well, I am not.
Before he gets into his spill, somebody made a good point. How are these broke guys from the streets paying this lawyer to keep going back for pills and stuff? You gotta have money to fight a case.
So you got some bread.
Who is paying this guy at this point? Because we know they're not. We know Drake's not. Who's paying him to do this? The bread's coming from somewhere.
Name dropped Drake in this petition for an appeal.
Well, I am not arguing it. I'm not his appellate attorney. I was the trial counsel, so I'm just referencing what Mr. Patanzo, which is his appellate attorney, has stated in the brief. There is so many errors that it takes so a while to even break it down. One of the main errors, in my opinion, in the case, which I had to sit through, argue, and live it, was the fact that in December of 2020, I filed a witness list. The state's reaction to that was to file a motion saying, we want the court to strike all of his witnesses, that's not even something that's legal or that you could do. You have to itemize who you want stricken. Facts. You just can't shotgun approach and say, I want all of his defense witnesses stricken. But the state attorney did that. In a hearing that I had to defend, myself to that in that motion, the court didn't grant that, but the court instructed me to file a pleading, which was the nexus in my defense witnesses and what nexus they had to my theory of defense, which I argued was inappropriate because at the end of the day, you're ordering me to give the state a blueprint of what my defense is going to be. Right. But I was ordered to do it, and I did it. When prior to Mr. Onfroy, which I'll refer to him as X for this interview because his stage name was XXXTentacion, which was the victim in this case. Prior to him being murdered, he had posted on Instagram, if anybody kills me, I'm snitching right now. It's champagne popping. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but something to that effect.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that. So we covered that.
Yeah,
imagine the decedent said prior to his death, If anybody kills me, it's Champagne Poppy, which is Drake's Instagram name. I laid out in extreme detail all of my defense witnesses list, which included many rappers, because at the end of the day, the victim in this case was a rapper. He had feuds, ongoing public feuds with not only Drake, but a lot of rappers that are either signed to OVO or related to Drake in some way, including 600 Breezy, which is a Chicago-based rapper, and a rapper that's from Toronto by the name of, he goes by Top 5, which is Hassan.
Who else?
And I had to lay that all out in detail. The court was fully aware of my theory of defense. Prior to that, I filed a motion to perpetuate the testimony of Livingston Allen, which goes by the name of DJ Academics, because DJ Academics was friends with X and had posted long YouTube,
interview
content regarding this beef. He actually posted YouTube saying that he was on the phone with X discussing the issue and the beef that he had with Drake. And specifically, X had either said or posted something about Drake's mom, and he had posted a picture of a Drake lookalike with semen on his face. And he wanted DJ Academics to post it on his own site, and he said, "I'm not going to do that." And in that conversation, DJ Academics says that you better be careful, because even though, and I'm paraphrasing again, even though he's not a gangster, you may be pushing him. As a reaction to that conversation,
facts. We covered the whole situation, everything he's talking about. We know about, and to a certain extent, XXX was pushing him.
There's an antagonist.
He had a reason to push him. You was stealing my stuff. I can't just go punch you in the face. So this is how I'm going to get back.
I'm gonna get my get
he
back.
basically was saying, XXX was saying Drake was trying to steal his flow, use him as a pedestal. So now he's using Drake for the pedestal, and that's where all the beef and stuff stem from.
I'm gonna get mine.
Yeah, one way or another.
And even though he's not a gangster, you may be pushing him.
Yeah.
As a reaction to that conversation, X goes and says that he takes it out off the post off of his website or off of IG, and he says that his Instagram was hacked.
That's what everybody say nowadays. I was hacked. It wasn't
testimony,
me.
Which a motion to perpetuate testimony is when you have a witness that is relevant to your defense and that lives beyond the jurisdictional limits of the court, and that you feel that you're not going to be able to bring them into court. So I'm basically asking the court to allow me to go to California or wherever I have to go, depose this individual, and now with his deposition, if he doesn't show up, I could use it in my defense or in my case in chief, right? So I did that, argued it to the court, and the court, in a reaction, basically said, I'm not going to grant your motion to perpetuate testimony, just take his depo. Let's just take it. So, okay, fine. I set a notice of hearing, went and served Drake in his castle in Beverly Hills.
His castle.
Enters a rule to show cause, basically saying a purge date. You have to appear for depo on this day, or I'm going to do a writ of bodily attachment. He then goes and hires Brad Cohen, a friend of the show, friend of mine as well, an excellent attorney. And Brad files several motions, motion to quash the subpoena, and he files a motion for protective order.
Right.
We go back and forth, and the judge says, and the first time that Brad shows up to court, he says, you know what, I'm gonna quash the rule to show cause. He's hired counsel. You guys can communicate and figure out when this step was gonna happen. Okay? Right. So we go back and forth. We can't agree to it for various reasons, and I'm not gonna get into settlement negotiations on the show, but we can't agree. We go into court February 24th, I believe, on his motions. At that time, James Beard, which is the process server that served Drake, appeared as a witness, and I wanted to show video that he took of the actual attempted service, where it shows Drake's bodyguards or the people that are in front of his house refusing to cooperate. It showed one of Drake's employees kicking the subpoena down.
Yeah, like, nigga, we know the law. We take the subpoena in his house. He's been serving it. As long as we don't take, we're not taking it. Take it. I'm not taking nothing.
I'm not taking that. I don't even hear the doorbell. What are you doing out there?
Get up out of here. you want to be the guy that go ahead and drink that paper of him getting subpoenaed to court? Man. When all we had to do was not open the door, and it wouldn't have been our problem.
Right.
It showed one of Drake's employees kicking the subpoena down the road that leads to his mansion, and the judge didn't allow me to show that.
we have evidence that Drake never received this paperwork because we got a tape of security kicking that shit down the road. We never seen it.
Despite not allowing me
That's
to
crazy.
put forth that evidence,
Kicked it down the road.
the judge did a 180 from telling me to figure it out, coordinate it, take the depo, did a 180, told me, why are you involving him? Granted the motion for protective order, granted the motion to quash my subpoena, allowed Mr. Cohen to argue California law without having a California expert there.
Damn.
And basically kind of chastised me about, why are you bringing them into it? But the state attorney, sensing there's blood in the water, says, Judge, I'm going to renew my motion to strike all his witnesses, okay? Or tennis, no notice. And he says, I'm not going to do...
He said they sensed blood in the water. The situation he was describing remind me of Frank Lucas. When the cops was trying to go after Frank Lucas, and the detectives that was on payroll went there, was like, yo, leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? He's a big fish out there here. He's feeding a lot of people. Let Frank Lucas be.
This is the one you want to not touch.
That's what it sounds like. It's crazy.
All his witnesses, okay? Or tennis, no notice. And he says, I'm not going to do that,
Drake
but
was
I am
Frank
going to
Lucas
strike Mr. Graham.
Right.
So he struck in the middle of the trial. He struck Drake from my witness list, which is completely inappropriate.
Completely inappropriate.
The history of the case.
Yeah, so
Completely
as you heard
inappropriate.
in that clip, he's not arguing that his client was innocent. He's arguing that he wasn't given a fair trial because there was other suspects that weren't investigated, and he specifically name drops Drake, 600 Breezy, and Top 5, which is Drake's shooter from Toronto. That's how he's described himself in the past. I ain't just putting that jacket on him. He said that's what he is. Honestly, it's pretty crazy. Now, from here, what happens is that petition for appeal will be reviewed, and then there will be a responsive brief that is filed in response to this. And if the appellate court agrees that Drake, 600 Breezy, Top 5, they should have been investigated more, then a new trial for Dedrick Williams could be on the table. And in that new trial, I'm assuming if it's granted, we more than likely will have to hear from either one Drake or two Drake's attorney. If that's approved. Now, as far as a timeline for that, I'm not really certain on when it could happen. It could be within the next couple weeks. It might take it a couple months. We all know that the court system can be really slow, especially when it comes to appeals after you've been found guilty. Sometimes them things can take years to get through. So it might be a while before we hear a response to this petition. But there was a lot of evidence. Like I said, I made a video about...
I feel like if this thing is not settled out of court soon, a petition will be coming soon.
Yeah.
But if it's settled out of court, you might not even hear about this thing ever again.
Ever again.
It's crazy.
Years ago, but just a few examples. There was a guy here named Robert Allen who was on trial for the murder of XXXTentacion. There was images online of Robert Allen throwing up gang signs. There were also images of Drake throwing up the exact same gang signs. Now keep in mind, Robert Allen and them, they're from Florida. Drake is from Canada, but there was more of a connection. Robert Allen's dad is notoriously known and has been convicted of being a drug dealer and a firearm dealer with ties to people in Toronto, right? So there was that. There was a ton of lyrics that Drake had dropped. I'm not going to go through them all right now because it would take forever for me to get through them, but there was a lot of things that seemingly connected Drake to this entire incident that was just overlooked because the judge felt like Drake was too big of a superstar to be involved in it. Like the lawyer said, he struck...
I feel like his boss hollered at him.
Yeah.
Like somebody like the mayor. Gotta be like, that's his boss. You know what I'm saying? The governor.
Yeah.
That's the only people that could
somebody with some pull.
Yeah. You like your job, right? Leave that man alone.
Too big of a superstar to be involved in it. Like the lawyer said, he struck down Drake and only Drake from his witness list. Everybody else was...
Question everybody else.
Leave him alone.
Just don't question Drake.
We're not even going to do this.
Drake and only Drake from his witness list. Everybody else was allowed to come in, give testimony, yada, 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 but not Drake. That was shot down almost immediately. Which, I mean, to be fair, nobody is saying that them guys that were convicted are innocent, but the lawyer might be on to something when he says that it's not a fair trial if you're not allowed to introduce all of the information, and there was clearly more information.
More information out there.
Yeah, he's going to try to say that he could have been on to something when early in the videos you told us you got damn near a half-hour video
Right.
on the situation between Drake and XXX, and you think he might be on to
On to something?
It's crazy. You had to move it to Rumble, and you think they might be on
Yeah,
to something?
they pulled it.
It's crazy.
Wow.
allowed to introduce all of the information, and there was clearly more information. But yeah, bro, that's what we got. This is not how I expected this week to develop.
At
After
all.
Drake sued
At all.
UMG, all of a sudden,
It gets
boom,
spookier.
he's being implicated in the murder of X. Crazy stuff. But yeah, bro, y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about it in the comments down below.
Wow,
Anyways, that's
situation.
basically it for the video,
Straight
guys. If
TV.
you enjoyed the content,
Let's
be sure
get-
I think this is crazy timing.
Yeah, the time is real suspicious.
Yeah, this time is definitely real suspicious, and it just makes you like, wow, because this is something that was kind of put to the side.
Yeah.
You would think, oh, he's done with this. This line of questioning it never happened, and just as soon as he started barking at that tree over there, that UMG tree,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we forgot to talk about this.
Diddy wasn't a big enough example. We gotta make another example.
Make another example.
Facts. You didn't get it.
Yeah, just don't. I don't know. I don't know what it takes to hit that point when you feel like you're invincible.
Yeah.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
it's got to be a drug.
To me, almost
It's got
felt
to
like
be a drug of some sort, because these brothers is really hitting a point where their pockets is so long they don't even think that it's possible for anyone to
the way I be looking at it. Ever since Kanye West came out trying to expose stuff, and they took him on a humiliation tour.
Yeah.
He's still standing. He's still doing #1. So people looking like you can go against these people and still survive. And ever since Kanye, that's when Diddy started coming out. Now Drake is coming out. It almost seemed like Kanye put the batter in people back that you can stand up against the machine and you can survive it.
Yeah, but you got to be ready to deal with whatever comes your way.
But like Kanye said, I don't got no skeletons in my closet.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
a
do this.
difference. It's a difference.
I-
He's has a big voice, but when you don't, you feel you move a lot more free.
Yeah, we knew Drake was in a glass house.
Yeah, these other brothers, they not
They not on the Kanye.
on the Kanye train, man.
Yeah.
But I just think this is crazy. Like when you hear how it was handled in court and how they just was like, no, we're not even gonna
Real suspicious.
we're not even gonna talk to Drake
Real
about
suspicious.
anything. Like it's wild that.
If it was me and your name, we'd have been.
Oh
in court
hell
the next
yeah,
day.
we've been in court the next day.
Facts.
Like couldn't get bonded out. None of that.
Not at all.
It's wild, man. Just to see how life occurs, but I can't wait to see how this unfolds. Because some like, yeah, it's like but just the time.
Yeah.
See how this plays out in court. What you think?
I think I'm getting real good at this predicting stuff. Since we've been reacting, you've been
Right.
taking in a lot of information. You've been peeping stuff because you're forced to be in the news feed every day, seeing how stuff is going. I predicted this. I even called up XX name a couple of videos ago. Like, yo, be careful, because we covered a video on that whole XX situation. And we know how stuff works around here. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, you really calling them out? Like, boy, you better make sure everything is squeaky clean with you to be calling these people out, because if there's anything they could bring up, they're gonna bring it
coming
up.
up.
And the reason they have to bring it up because they got to make an example so people won't come behind you. If people see you get away with this, and
Yeah,
we
this
do
won't
nothing,
happen again.
It's gonna open up the floodgates. So we're gonna shut this down. It's like 2 days after you made that lawsuit. This came out.
Yeah,
Like Diddy was some time in between the lawsuit and it coming out.
Yeah.
It was like 48 hours. Like, we're not playing this game. You feel what I'm saying? It's like Uncle Luke said.
it's like what did we mute? What did we mute when we were looking out for him? All right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna throw that up there.
We're gonna mute everything that we hit the mute on is a good way that you put it. I hope Drake's know what he's doing. I'm pretty sure he knew what he was getting into. If we know what he was getting into, he definitely knew what he was getting into. He stuck his foot in that water. He's seen that it's hot. I think my best educated decision is he's gonna settle this. This little Lucian Grains thing. Remember when we did?
Yeah, he's gonna figure it out.
When we did the lawsuit, I was like, yo, everything we see my Lucian name this year.
It disappears. People like, now you see him, now you don't. Like,
I feel the same thing happened with this. It's gonna disappear because it's just a little. You want us to go all the way through with this? You still want to walk your baby nuts around the block? Let's see how far they go.
let's see how far they go.
And I'm pretty sure when this came up, we think we know where it came from. We think Drake know where it came from. Just settle it because it's a lot more that could be pulled out. You want to stop it here. You don't want to keep going. You know what I'm saying? And see
it gets messy out here.
Yeah, you can't take all these people money for all 15, 20 years and then trying to turn on them when they the one that feel like they made you that big, and now we made you that big, and you got a voice. You want to try to use it against us. They don't like them type of situations.
It's wild when you think about it like that, but that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and you got to ask the question: Who paid this lawyer to go back and do a pill? He's not doing this quick pro bono, doing it for free. So somebody have to pay his fees.
It
ain't them niggas that's in jail doing life.
Absolutely not them.
So someone's paying it. Definitely keep an eye on this situation. Before we got the video, if you didn't like, subscribe, or leave a comment, make sure you do that. Until our next video, it's your boy Trey TV.
And it's your boy Lamar Wilson.
And we out.